left you with a lot of debt. Yes, your credit cards are maxed out, Raquel. Yes, you're in a bad situation right now. But two things. Number one, identify what is it that you truly want. Before you do that, if you've ever been late on your credit card, the stress when you get that bill and you're like, oh my God, I have to make this payment. I did some compulsive shopping. Those little Black Friday sales, it ended up getting me.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
I'm just literally speaking from my heart. Yourself a raise. How to slow down your spending and give yourself a raise. You get paid and then you're like, okay, I gotta pay my rent, my mortgage, car payment, insurance, all that. I have a little fluff, I got a little cushion here. Or you're really already thinking, oh my God, if I spend this money, the bills are due already in a couple of weeks. A couple of years ago, you guys, I set these goals to where I wanted to pay off my house within X amount of years. Have you ever sat and you're like, okay, let me map this out. How are we gonna do this? You have this whole action plan, you're excited, and it's something about the end of the year where you start really thinking about like, well, what did I really achieve this year? What did I accomplish? And then it's always like January 1st, we start thinking, okay, this year is gonna be the year I lose the weight, I save the money, I change, I, buy a house, I pay off the car, I get out of credit card debt. And if you have answered yes to any of those, then this video is definitely for you. And if not, maybe you just want to stick around because you may learn a couple of things. I want to warn you first, by sticking around and watching this video, it can possibly completely change your life. And next year you will be remembering, I remember when I saw that little morenita on the computer screen and she was sharing all these tips that actually are helping her. Let's get started. And oh, and by the way, my name is Raquel. I'm just a mommy of 6 who's gone through some hiccups, has had a couple of emotional roller coasters in her life. And we are here now to elevate our lives every year while we realize the changes that we need to make for us to be able to continue to move forward with our goals and our dreams. One of those targeted goals was being out of debt. I had paid off some of my credit cards and then I had paid them all off. I remember being like, oh my gosh, I don't have any debt anymore. And then guess what happened? I had gone into the Apple store to get a cell phone for a birthday present for my honey. The guy's like, oh, well, if you open up this card, you can put the Apple Pay on your phone and it's super easy. Here I go again with the Apple card on my phone. You guys know how easy it is for you to just tap. There is no emotional connection with you because you're not physically paying cash. If you're trying to get out of debt like I am and you're on a debt-free journey, there's a couple of things that may go through your mind. I'm not gonna pay anybody. My credit's gonna get repaired in a couple of years. I'm just not gonna pay it. Why am I gonna pay that? I didn't even buy that. I lent somebody my credit card. They ended up not making the payment, but it's still your name. There's two things that I am grateful that I learned and I thought about before I let my credit cards go. Yes, he left you with a lot of debt. Yes, your credit cards are maxed out, Raquel. Yes, you're in a bad situation right now. But two things. Number one, you're gonna have that integrity of being able to pay it off and one day saying, I did that, and you're gonna do it with integrity and ethics, and because in all reality, you're the one that really borrowed that money. Or two, you let it go, which I don't think is the right thing to do. I think you should literally pay everybody back. And it hadn't even crossed my mind that I wasn't gonna pay them back. I just didn't have the money. The thing is, I was spending my money on other things. Expensive baseball bats for my son, just charging my credit card, taking the kids to pizza places, buying tokens, adding it to my credit card. As parents, we want to give our kids beautiful experiences, especially if you come from a childhood where there was not a lot. Things that got rooted in me when I was a little girl. There's not enough money. So then you get money and it's like you're thinking about, what can I spend it on? Let's say you get paid today. Before you even get paid, the night before, you're already thinking, ooh, as soon as the money hits my bank account, I'm gonna pay this, I'm gonna pay that, but I'm gonna buy this. Or you already have things in your Amazon cart and you're just waiting to get paid for you to hit buy. A lot of us just don't know how to save. We get money and we're so scared that it's gonna go, so we just blow it. But then here's what happens with that too. Comes the stress. The stress when you get that bill and you're like, oh my God, I have to make this payment.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
You have now created this habit of just spending to where you're kind of like on autopilot. You know, like when you're driving to work and you're like, oh my God, I went through how many cities, I didn't even realize it. I think that that's what we also do with our credit and with our shopping, our compulsive buying, our emotional shopping. And I'm only saying this because this is exactly what I was just recently experiencing. When I started getting down to the root of why I started to do that, I was going through a lot of personal problems. I just didn't know how to deal with it. A lot of times when we're like overachievers in one area, struggle with something in a different area. And that's just called life. It's normal. I started to isolate myself. I started to go through a little bit of like, I guess, depression, which is real because my mom did struggle with that. I have so much respect for people that literally still have to live their life, go to work, and they are functioning, I don't know how to say the word, but because that's kind of like me. I was really depressed. There was days that I was like barely putting on my uniform right before I had to leave. And I remember I'm like, I just have to go to work because I have bills to pay. Because I just wasn't handling other things that I needed to handle, like setting boundaries with some of my kids. Like learning to say no. Like saying I'm not rich, so I'm not gonna do that. And I just was always like the yes mom. I always wanted to be the mom that was like, yeah, you can get that. Yes, you can get that. But guess what? With that also came the bills. Yes, how am I going to pay this now? I realized that these behaviors that I started to create was just because I had that mindset that I just want my kids to have everything. A couple of things that I'm going to be canceling this year. You can get your bank statement, you can get your credit card statement, you can even go on your phone right now. And if you guys have any of the Apple Pays like I did, you can literally click on the category. It will show you where majority of your money was going. And I'm gonna be very honest with you, it was eating out. I was going through all those drive-thrus knowing darn well I had even cup of noodles or sopa huevonas or whatever here at home, or going grocery shopping and then just saying, oh, well, we went grocery shopping, let's go get In-N-Out. So I want to share something with you guys, and I want to be extremely transparent because I want this to also help you. Okay, so this is what I did, and this was just done a couple of days ago. It was actually a week ago that I did this. I wrote down all of my debts, okay? And I am currently going to be on a debt-free journey, and things that I'm going to be canceling, that way I could actually give myself a raise, are a couple of things. I am going to be going into a no spending year. Bear with me. I kind of feel nervous even saying this myself because I've never done this in my whole entire life. I have 6 kids. I'm like, I have 6 kids. I have 6 kids, but I have 4 that still live here at home and 2 that already live on their own. So I still love to contribute and help and do these little small things of like sending a gift card, you know, saying, hey, order food, or here's an extra $80 for whatever. Like, I love doing that. And I will continue to do small things like that. But the no spending is going to be on the things that I know I have just taken complete advantage of, like this. Do you guys see all those books? Now ask me how many of those romance books have I read? Not a lot. And I also have a Kindle. Now that I have a Kindle, there's no reason why I need to continue to buy books, even though I love buying physical books. I love them on my bookshelf. I have this whole bookshelf. I have another bookshelf right over there. I love books, but what I realize is that because yes, I do love books, but I love the idea of my bookshelf being full and how beautiful, and it just makes me so happy. But my favorite books are personal development. That I am like, and I'm the type of person that any book recommendation, I'm like, okay, shop in the cart, let's go, let's get it. If it's helped someone change their life, I literally want it because I'm like, I can always learn from somebody else. I ended up using some of my last paycheck to pay off some of these credit card bills. So my balance is no longer going to be this because I paid off Bank of America, Ulta, Costco. Amazon has dropped tremendously. I made payments to Apple. All of the balances are lower, and I will be sharing with you guys every single month an updated version of my credit card debt. One thing that I think was one of the hardest things was acknowledging that I have a shopping problem. I was choosing to go shopping instead of really dealing with what I needed to deal with. Now, this dopamine hit that you get late at night, the Amazon tell you, oh, people like you also bought, or people who bought, when they say people who bought this also bought that, and you're like, oh, that really goes great together, so you add that too. But have you ever gone shopping and then you're like probably sad or whatever, you go shopping, you get home, but you still feel empty, you still feel sad, you still feel like I'm missing something? And that's because we're not getting to the root of what's really bothering us. Once we tap into the root of what's really bothering us, maybe it's just a phone call you need to make to that person to free up that thing that is holding you down. Maybe if you can't talk to that person, you write out a letter and you're like, I can't believe you did this to me, or how could you have, and you just release it and you get it off of your chest. Sometimes just by doing that, it frees us. The other thing is going through your subscriptions. Sometimes we feel like we're rich, you know, and we start just clicking on all these subscriptions and you realize that you're not using all of it. I don't really think that you need Paramount Pictures, Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime. What else do they have out there? It's nice to have, but maybe you can do something to where every 3 months you cancel one of the subscriptions and then you add a different one and you're able to get those promotional offers. Maybe you only have Netflix for 3 months and then you cancel it and then you're like, okay, now the next 3 months we're gonna only have Paramount. Just pick one if you have to, because if you really think about it, add up 10, 15. Netflix now is $22.99 here in California. Some people get it free with their cell phones, but my cell phone plan, it's only $105. So I am like on the cheapest program. Do you want to have all those subscriptions just sitting there, or do you want to use those extra $60 to throw out your debt and get out of the debt faster? The next thing that I needed to do was I needed to call my homeowner's insurance and my car insurance and make sure that I was still getting all of the discounts that applied to me. The thing that I needed to do was I also needed to really check with what I already have in stock at home and start shelf cooking. What does this mean? It's like where I take inventory of what's actually in my pantry, and if I have like 5 bags of pasta, I know that I can actually utilize those, and one day when I go to the grocery store, we can have spaghetti, we can have another day I can make lasagna. Something after 2020, I had this mindset of like, oh my God, I just need to make sure we always have food because God forbid something to happen. And I was buying a bunch of groceries, and then you go in your pantry and you check and then it's like expired. So you find yourself throwing it away, and it's just money that has just gone down the drain. I'm going to be getting a calendar. I'm going to be putting things that I have already in my pantry, and then once I use it, I'm going to just cross it off. And it's not that hard. Go in front of your pantry. You can even just take a picture of it. So when you go to the grocery store, pop up your photo, what I have in my pantry. Before you go to the grocery store, take a picture of your refrigerator. Take a picture of your freezer. There's some times that we come back from grocery shopping and we're like, I already had garlic salt, I already had bell peppers. I think that groceries, besides our regular rent and house payments, is our most expensive bill besides where we live at. Because groceries are just so expensive today. And if you guys have growing kids like I do, especially boys who are like men who eat a lot, you guys know that it goes like this, okay? Another thing that I'm going to be cutting back on to give myself a raise is the amount of times that I go to Costco. Now, if you go to Costco, Sam's Club, Target's another one. I will go into Target for I don't know what. I will come out with the receipt of $100 or $200. But Target has been a little bit crazy with their prices as well. Now, the sad thing about it is that you can go to Target and you can get something that's cheap. Like the eggs. I went there and they were $3.99. At Stater Brothers, they were $5.99. What is the difference when they're the exact brand? The price that the store wants to put. Another way that I plan on giving myself a raise, I need to stop buying shoes. Unless I get like a gift card for my birthday or for, you know, Valentine's, something like that, that's different. But I'm not buying any more shoes this year, okay? Another thing that I have spent a lot of money on, eating out at work with coworkers. There is a lot of fast food and there's like a lot of restaurants around where I work. So it's just easy. It all adds up. And you're like, oh, well, the kids combo's not that much. So let me add a little side of fries and onion rings, a half and half like at the Happy Burger. All of a sudden now you're spending like $16, $15 at lunch. So I am going to make it a point. I meal prep and have like different protein containers, and then I am just able to have it on the go. I think that one of the biggest reasons why we also eat out at work is just because we have not prepared the night before for what we're gonna actually take to work. You know, like when you give yourself a little bit of like, okay, well, maybe, then you continue to, well, it's okay, it's just today. Well, it's okay. And then all of a sudden you're back into that habit. The next thing I am not going to be buying in 2024. Journals. But there's something about me that I have this little mentality that if I get a new journal, my life, I'm gonna hit all my goals and dreams. If I just get this new journal, no. I have one journal now for my kids, which is this one right here. This is just my whole house, like my life as a mom. This one's also going to be for like the days that they're in school, the activities, because I do have my son that's in pre-K, a lot of activities and stuff like that, his drop-off times, pick-up times. So this is going to be for that. I do have another journal that is completely for my YouTube channel, and then I have another journal that is for one of my big projects for 2024. So that's it. I'm not buying any more journals, no more. The next thing that I am not going to be buying in 2024 to be able to give myself a raise is any more workout clothes. Oh, that hurt. I love oversized sweaters, workout clothes. I love Lululemon workout clothes. It is just chef's kiss. I love it. I am not buying any of that. I recently had just bought those Spanx workout pants. I ended up sending it back because I bought two. I opened one, I returned the other one, and that leads me to the next thing about giving yourself a raise. If you have anything around your home that you're able to still return, highly recommend you to return it. I ended up returning a couple of things to Amazon. That's why my balance has gone down a good amount. I ended up buying this mic for my camera, and I bought it because I saw this other creator have it, and their audio sounds so good. So I'm like, oh my God, which one is it? I'm trying to figure it out. I ended up treating myself to that mic. I don't know if it's that I just don't know how to use it or I got a defective mic, but the mic stopped working. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sending it back. I put a little notice in there. The mic's not currently working. So I returned it immediately. That's going to be like $302 that they're going to return to my Amazon credit card, which is through Chase. When I first wrote this down, I owed $1,567.73. So just imagine $300 less. If you have anything around your home that you're still able to return, of course, I only returned that because it wasn't working. I'm not returning stuff that I've already used. Those little Black Friday sales, it ended up getting me. If you would have $100 in your hand or you have a credit card, when you give them that $100, it feels different. But when you swipe a card, you don't even feel it. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I got it. And it's not even money. You think it's your money, but it's really not your money because it's borrowed money. And if you don't pay it off at the end of the month, now you have borrowed money, but now you're paying them interest. I want you guys to know that credit card companies make money off of the interest. That's what literally keeps them in business. Another thing that keeps them in business is when somebody is late on their payment and they charge you that late charge fee. That's how they make money. You guys, they make so much money off of interest because no one ever really looks at the statement, and by law now they have to disclose if you pay the minimum amount, you will not pay off your credit card until, I don't know, like 2035 or something. And you would have now paid $1,256 in interest, but no one really looks at that because the only thing that is so attractive on that statement is the minimum payment. Guy at work actually brought me a statement. He's like, Raquel, he only speaks Spanish. So he's like, I'm making my payment every single month and I don't know why my balance continues to go up. The reason why it was going up because he was making the minimum payment, but the interest every month was just going up and up and up. If you've ever been late on your credit card recently, call them, ask them if they can do an exception of a one-time and remove the fee from you. You can also call them and ask them that you're going through a hard time, you're trying to pay off the debt, but that you want to know if they can actually lower the interest rate, what's the best rate they can give you because you're focused on paying off the credit card. If you are really, really serious, you can call the credit card company, ask them to freeze your credit card. That way you cannot charge anymore and it will automatically force you to not have that access to be able to charge your credit card anymore. This is just my point of view. I'm not a financial expert. Giving yourself a raise is also realizing your behavior. I think that a lot of us think that we have a money problem. I think it's that we have a behavioral problem in the sense of where is your money going? Where are you spending your money at? This is the best tip that I was like, when I thought of this, I was like, girl, okay, let me tell you. Sheet of paper. Don't write out your gross income. Your gross income does not matter. That only matters when you're trying to qualify for something. Write down your net amount that you actually take home. If you get paid $1,000, that's your gross. That's before Uncle Sam takes all the money. The number you need to look at is that $800.20 that you actually take home that gets deposited into your bank account. Go back to your last paychecks and write down how much money did you physically receive. Now, when you do your budget or you're trying to pay off your credit card, you're gonna go based on that, not gonna go based on the gross amount. I think a lot of people will also make this mistake where you're thinking, oh, I make X amount of dollars, but you don't, because Uncle Sam has to still take his cut. Taxes, Social Security, all that stuff. So once you realize how much you actually take home, it will make your life a lot easier. It's like a little misleading when you think that you're actually making this, but in already you're actually making this, what you take home. You do make that, but it's just before taxes. With that said, you guys, I hope that this video helped you. I hope it made sense because nothing is scripted. I'm just literally speaking from my heart. This is gonna be the year that we start making these tiny changes that make the biggest difference in your life. Thank you so very much, and I hope to see you on the next one. Don't forget to do all that YouTube stuff, subscribe, leave a comment down below. What's one goal that you have? Like, what's one bill that you wanna pay, or any advice that you want the community to give you, you know, drop it down below. Give yourself a raise, okay?